Everybody look around, cause there's reason to rejoice, you see. Everybody come out and commence to sing and joyfully. Everybody look up and feel the hope that we've been waiting for. Everybody be glad, cause our silent fear and dread are gone. Freedom, you see, has got our hearts to sing and joyfully. Just look around, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Can you feel a brand new day? 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 Everybody be glad, cause the sun is shining just for us. Everybody wake up, the morning into happiness. Hello world, it's like a different way of living now. Thank you world, I always knew that we'd be free somehow. In harmony, to show the world that we've been liberty. It's such a change for us to live life independently. Can you feel a brand new day? 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 Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Woo. How many of you ever had the opportunity to see The Wiz on stage? Nobody? A few people. That was a transformative experience for me anyway. If you ever get that opportunity, do not miss it. It takes The Wizard of Oz to a whole new level. Well, speaking of new levels, and speaking of rising up, interest rates are rising at Unity Spiritual Center, Albuquerque. Can you feel that? Yes. All right, yes. You know, annual meeting lesson titles are always something along the lines of, a new day is dawning, you know, a new year is coming. And I thought, I want something different. I want something that speaks to the experience we are having right here at Unity Spiritual Center, right in this now moment, and over the last year and in the year to come. And so I was driving down the road, coming to work the other morning, and I don't usually listen to the news, but there was a news break that happened. I actually listen to old-time radio. It's fun. Thank God for Sirius. But I'm driving down the road, and they mentioned that interest rates were rising. And I thought, interest rates are rising. What if that meant something besides money? What if that meant that interest in what unity is, what we teach, what we believe, and what we have to offer to the world is rising? And I realized as I look back on the last year and realized that on this Sunday last year, there were 49 people here. I don't know how many are here today, but it's significantly more than 49. 91. Thank you, Lori. And I thought of all the ways we have grown and changed in the last 365 days, and I realized interest rates are rising in Unity and at Unity Spiritual Center. What a great title. Can I get an amen? Amen. Yes. So let's take a look at what has been happening. Oh, by the way, before I do that, did you all notice our new banners? Yes. Yes. There'll be more new changes coming too. But, and we're not doing away with the old ones. They're part of our heritage. But let's take a look at what has been happening in unity through the years, and in our unity as well. To begin with, I think we need to have an understanding of where unity has come from as a movement and where it's going. Unity really began to catch fire in the Western world in the 1920s. It started right here in Albuquerque, somewhere about 1924. And from 1920 to about 1980, unity grew significantly around the world. There was a huge interest in it. But then something began to happen in the 80s, and interest began to wane, it seemed like. Attendance began to go down, and we realized now that it wasn't just unity, it was denominational religion as a whole. And it really began to plummet after the year 2000, especially through the 20-teens. But one of the things we are seeing is a rise in the last 5 years about, especially in the last 2 years. And not just here, but in many unity churches. And at the same time, in many churches and some unity churches, it's not going up. What has happened? Why has there been this rise and fall and rise again in unity and in traditional denominations? Well, if we look at religion around the world, especially in the Western world, attendance is down in many churches. In fact, Christianity in Europe, except for Italy and maybe Spain, is all but non-existent now. It's almost unmeasurable. Churches are struggling. And I got curious about that word struggle. And the meaning of that, the original meaning of that word from the original Norse tells me why they are struggling. For the original definition meant to be stiff and unyielding, to fail to evolve with the times. And that is what has been happening. In Christianity, especially traditional Christianity, churches are struggling. Even in the big mega churches, the evangelical ones with the music and the lights and the smoke and all of that kind of stuff, they're beginning to shrink. Why? Because I believe humanity has grown beyond a religion of sin, shame, and blame. A religion that teaches there is us and there is them. A fear-based theology based on a fear of Satan, a fear of people who have a different way of living, a different viewpoint, a different understanding. Of a fear of losing what we have. The old mindsets are dying. Authoritarianism around the world, which has been the structure of traditional Christianity since its very foundation, which was not with Jesus, has been authoritarian. But the world is rising. Humanity is evolving to a new level of consciousness where we are seeking a more collaborative, creative theology. Capitalism is dying. New economies based on the concept of if everyone thrives, I thrive, are rising around the world. If we look at migration that is happening right here in the United States, people are leaving areas that are based in that old mindset. Those states are losing people, and they are moving to states and cities like New Mexico. Do you realize that in 1980, when I came here to New Mexico, there were 420,000 people in Albuquerque? I counted. No. 2023, this now moment in Albuquerque. Now, the census hasn't happened for a couple years, but the population of metropolitan Albuquerque is now said to be 955,000 people. What is bringing them? What is bringing them to Albuquerque, and what is bringing more and more people to unity and will bring more and more people to unity? Higher interest rates. It is interest, as Ken said, in our principles and beliefs. The world is ready for unity. The world has reached the point where they say, oh, what those guys have been saying since 1924 is what we want to have in our world today, is what we want our spirituality to be. Humanity is moving beyond religion to spirituality. And it's an entirely different experience. Religion is based on rules and regulations, dogmas and creeds. Theology is based on principle and teachings. So let's take a look at our unity principles and think about how the people are becoming more interested in these ways of thinking. Our first principle, there's only one God. There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. As humanity progresses in science and physics and metaphysics, more and more people are moving away from this idea of God as an angry old man up in the clouds who's subject to anger and jealousy and ego, or one that would create something that is in opposition to itself. In other words, there's no Satan. There's no devil. There is only good. Yes, there are times when we are more in alignment with good and sometimes when we're out of alignment with good. And then we have devilish experiences. But there is no little red thing with horns and a pitchfork going around wreaking havoc. We are moving as a species to an idea of a creative energy that we call God. That is not subject to human emotions, that does not have anger management issues, and is actually a part of its own creation. And thus, its natural proclivity is for higher and higher evolution. In other words, God is goodness and God is good, and that is all there is. It's an entirely different world than what traditional religion taught. For so many centuries, it was, the world is bad, the world is evil, life is hard, get over it. And a new teaching, actually a very old teaching, because it is what Jesus taught. We live in the kingdom of heaven. Life can be good when we are in alignment. The next principle builds on that. Our essence is of God. And if our essence is of God and God is good, then guess what? We are inherently good. And God's essence, we believe, was fully expressed in the great teachers like Jesus the Christ. People are becoming less and less interested in the mythological Jesus and wanting to know more of what Jesus knew. Charles Fillmore said it 100 years ago, and it is even more true today. Unity is not the religion about Jesus, it is the religion of Jesus. We want to know what Jesus knew. Jesus shared the information he had with the people of his community and time. And those teachings were lost through the years, intentionally suppressed sometimes, but now they are returning to a greater and greater awareness in people. People are also tired of being called things like sinners or unworthy. When all the teachers said, you are a child of God, you are created in the image and of the Most High. Jesus himself quoted Psalms when he said, do you not know that you are gods and goddesses? Do you not know that? We have forgotten it. We're realizing more and more that those old messages that were created in the years following Jesus' life were false. And it's not the ego man Jesus that saves us, but understanding the Christ principle that he modeled and taught that saves us. It saves us from what? Not from eternal damnation, but saves us from ourselves, from living a life that is less than what is possible. The understanding of the Christ principle, which is your hope of glory, Christ in you, your hope of glory, says that we are co-creators with God and we create reality through the thoughts we hold in mind. That is our next principle. We are co-creators with God, and we create our reality through the thoughts we hold in mind. We're discovering today that's pure psychology. It's not woo-woo religion or anything like that. We know that the way we think determines the way we live and the experiences we have. So if we want to create an image of what we want life to look like, then we are guided then to the actions to make it so. What has been poorly understood through the ages is that we can create an image of anything, good or bad. Think about that. What have we been creating? For too long, the mass of people have been creating a world based on what they see and what they are told by others. And that focus creates even more of what is not wanted. It is said that when we are out of alignment with divine mind, which only thinks the highest and best, we create a miss. And when we create a miss, we make a mess. But when we are in alignment, we create right, which leads to light. So the goal, I heard one little chuckle. I'll say it again just because it sounds cool. When we are out of alignment, we create a miss, which leads to a mess. When we are in alignment, we create right, which leads to light. How do we do that? We do it through prayer and meditation. Denials and affirmations are the tools we use. But even in the not spiritual realm of understanding, we are realizing the power of meditation. Doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, coaches, more and more and more people are realizing the value of meditation. Meditation leads us into greater awareness of truth. Mindful meditation can rewire the mind completely. And through our thoughts, words, and actions, then, we can do our next principle, which is to live the truth we know. We do what is necessary to create anew. And these simple principles, 5 simple principles, are changing the world. And more and more and more people, whether they consciously are aware of the exact 5 principles we use or not, are subconsciously aware that there is a different way of thinking, a different way of understanding creation and spirituality. But there's more than even these understanding of principles or awareness of principles that is raising the interest rate in unity. And that is what unity looks like. We are a movement that is universally appealing and acceptable to all spiritual seekers. We base our teachings on the teachings of Jesus because he was a Western teacher that we can relate to, but we understand and we examine and we learn from the Buddha and so many other traditions. We honor and respect and study the teachings of all spiritual paths, knowing that once we strip away the dogma and creed and the rules and the religious politics and all of that, that there is a golden thread of truth that binds us all. We are one. We are all seeking the same thing. And the greatest truth that everybody really is seeking is that love is the only real power there is, and that we live in an abundant universe, and that we are co-creators. Creation is inherently good, and we are a part of that creation. In unity, we are not only open and accepting, but striving to be inclusive, equitable, and empowering of everyone. And it's a work in progress. We are all learning and growing and getting better at it all the time. Why do we do this? We do it because we recognize that we do live in an infinitely diverse universe, a unique universe, created by a creator that is unlimited in any way. We are one. Have you ever wondered what else draws people to church? This was one to unity. This was one I had not thought of until Ben mentioned it. We don't believe you will go to hell if you miss a Sunday. And sometimes I wish we did. No, I'm just kidding. We do not believe that. Heck, we don't even believe in hell, except as a state of consciousness that we fall into from time to time. You know, I could go on and on and on, but we have an annual meeting coming up soon. So the next question is, what is raising interest rates in our Unity Center? Why are more people starting to say, what is Unity Spiritual Center Albuquerque? And why are more coming here? You know, there's Unity churches right here in our own state that are not growing. And I say this not from a place of ego, but because I want all Unity churches to grow, all Unity spiritual centers to grow, all CSL centers to grow, because we are what the world needs now. What is raising the interest rate? It's not just our beliefs. It's not just our teachings. You can get those online. It's not just our building, although thank you, Carl, and team, we have a beautiful building now. You know, I've visited many churches, Unity churches around the country in my 40-some-odd years in Unity. And the one thing I know that raises the interest rate in Unity Spiritual Center Albuquerque is none of the previous things I mentioned. It is you. Each and every one of you. You are the church. You are the spiritual center. You know, 43 years ago when I walked through those doors back there, I knew I was home. I had found my spiritual home. I found my spiritual path. And most importantly, I found my family. Many of you I have known for decades. Some of you I am just now getting to know, and some of you I will get to know. But the knowing that you are family is the one great, wonderful constant about this Unity Center. I've watched as so many of you have supported this center through the years, financially, through your talents, through your willingness and passion for service, through your joy, through your sorrows and struggles, and then seen you emerge victorious and share with others and help them grow in the same way. These are the things that make interest rates so high here at Unity, especially ours. It is you and your passion. It is you and your passion that got us through the last couple years. We survived the pandemic and are rebounding. We survived contractors who created a miss and made a mess. And despite their worst efforts, we have a beautiful building now, thanks to you people here. We are attracting younger families. We're starting to see kids coming back because we have always held the space for our children. And because we know that every child is born in the image and likeness of God and therefore is perfect just the way they are. And we teach them and help them to grow in that understanding. We have survived bookkeeping challenges and so many others because of the love that this Unity Spiritual Center has for one another and for what we stand for. That is why the deepest desire of my heart when I left was that someday I would return. And now, finally, we do know one other thing. We know that as we move into this new year at Unity and the years ahead, things won't always be easy. There will always be challenges to overcome. Thank God, because that is how we grow. But we also know that because of our principles and because of our teachings and because of you, there is nothing that can defeat us. Interest rates are high at Unity Spiritual Center Albuquerque, and you are the ones raising the rates. That's a good thing. In a few minutes, we're going to move into our annual, we'll take a brief break, get some coffee, go to the bathroom, whatever you have to do, and we'll move into our annual meeting. And we'll look at the year that was, the moment that is, and the year to come. And I do believe that because of you, the next year will be our best ever. Because those high interest rates will attract those who are seeking a higher way of living. And you in this room will be the way showers. So I want you all to do something. Whether you've been here 20 minutes now or so, 30 minutes, or 20 years or 30 years, pat yourself on the back. You've earned it. Look to the future, for the light shines brighter every moment, and you are the light of the world. Let this year's purpose be to remind others that they are too. Namaste.
All right, Brian has a new song. It's a cool song, too. It's called Stand Tall.
Let's stand tall.
Ready?
Don't blink, no, I don't want to miss it. One thing, it's back to the beginning. 'Cause everything is rushing in fast. Keep holding on, never look back. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4 times that I'll try for one more night. Light a fire in my eyes. I'm going out of my mind. Whatever happens, even if I'm the last standing, I'ma stand tall. I'ma stand tall. Whatever happens, even when everything's down, I'ma stand tall. I'ma stand tall. I gotta keep on dreaming till I gotta catch that feeling. Whatever happens, even if I'm the last standing, I'ma stand tall. I'ma stand tall. Right now I'm loving every minute. Hands down, can't let myself forget it, no. 'Cause everything is rushing in fast. Keep holding on, never look back. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4 times that I'll try for one more night. Light a fire in my eyes.
I'm going out of my mind. Whatever happens, even if I'm at last stand, I'm gonna stand tall. Gonna stand tall.
Whatever happens, even when everything's down, I'ma stand tall. I'm gonna stand tall. I gotta keep on dreaming till I gotta catch that feeling. Whatever happens, even if I'm the last standing, I'ma stand tall. I'ma stand tall like a bullet in the dark. I keep on going when it's all falling apart, and I know it in my heart. Ooh, ooh.
Whatever happens, no matter what, I'm gonna stand tall. I'm gonna stand tall. Whatever happens, even if I'm the last stand, I'm gonna stand tall. I'm gonna stand tall. I'm gonna stand tall.
Whatever happens, even if I'm the last standing, I'ma stand tall. I'ma stand tall. Whatever happens, even if everything's down, I'ma stand tall. I'm gonna stand tall. I gotta keep on dreaming till I gotta catch that feeling. Whatever happens, even if I'm the last standing, I'ma stand tall. I'ma stand tall.